Our lives are a series of stories and lessons learned. I love connecting with people through stories. I have seen myself evolve through the years and believed we never stop evolving. Each avatar has a purpose, each trial by fire has a lesson, each story has a message. These stories helped me reclaim my confidence and awaken my divine feminine energy. We all have Devi within us. These entries are what helped me realize just how divine we can be. Welcome to Devi Diaries. Welcome to Devi Diaries, a divine space born from House of Devi. I'm Amrutha, aka Curry Badshah, and here we explore personal stories, life lessons, and the magic in everyday transformation that have helped me reclaim confidence and awaken my divine feminine energy. My hope is that through these conversations, you'll feel inspired to step into your own power, honor your inner strength, and let your Devi shine. Let's dive in. Somehow, Devis like Shakti and Durga are allowed to be fierce enough to kill. They can strike fear and create chaos to destroy evil, but when human women show their fearlessness or boldness or fierceness day to day, it's not appreciated the same way. There was a point in time when I didn't consider the word brave a compliment. Many people in my life kept saying how brave I was, and I always found it a bit condescending. Until I was encouraged to understand exactly how my thinking and actions have been very different from others, and it was even a point of envy. She's so brave to do X, Y, and Z. I wish I had guts like that. Then I learned to embrace the divine feminine strength within me to be bold, fierce, and different. With the first episode of Devi Diaries and Navratri coming up, I thought it would be most auspicious to present a first episode around the topic of strength and bravery. Joining me today are the founding sisters of House of Devi, who are strong women I admire. Sheetal and Amisha Dalwadi, hello and welcome to the very first episode of Devi Diaries. I'm so honored to have the support from you both as House of Devi and being my very first guests on the show. So before we dive directly into the topic, I think it'll be incredibly relevant to also mention the purpose and ethos of House of Devi. After all, it takes courage and strength to build anything from nothing but your own passion. So tell us more about House of Devi and how it came to be.
Sure. So, first of all, we're so excited to be your first guest on Devi
Yes.
Diaries.
Yeah.
I I first saw you on Instagram and just sent you a DM, hoping you
Yes.
would think I was crazy, and you didn't. So I appreciate that.
No, I love it.
But I felt like you really had that Devi energy.
Completely.
So it's really exciting to be here now. Right. But House of Devi is a company that my sister Amisha and I founded, and it was born from really a meditation. I was sitting in
Mhm.
meditation, and Amisha and I were wanting to launch a company, and we couldn't think of a good name. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to sit and meditation and see what comes through. And the message I got was, look at the Mangal Sutra. And I was like, that's not a name of a company. But I stayed curious. I stayed curious and I followed and I researched and I found out that the Mangalsutra, which is an Indian wedding necklace,
Mhm.
traditionally known as, is actually an amulet that the mother would put on the daughter before she left the home to protect her immunity and to protect her spiritual energy as well. So I was like, what else? What else is there out there that I need to uncover?
Mhm.
And I did more and more research, and that led to me doing a class on women in Hinduism and women in our culture, the divine feminine. And from that class, the teacher chose 8 of us to be in a circle, and it was called the Circle of Light, the Circle of Eight. And we did meditations every single week. And he said, we're going to put a wish into this bowl and we're going to meditate on it and hope that it comes true. And from that is the Big Devi Energy Conference. So it is creating products that have and hold this really amulet energy, spiritual energy. Any of our products you pick up, you have a couple of them. They all have beadwork in it. It takes
Yes.
every piece of artwork that you can create, and this has been tested. There have been studies on this. is that when an artist puts pen to paper, weaves beats through this fabric, it creates an energy that you carry, and
Oh,
it's protective. And so that is what is weaved into our products. And then said, we want to also unveil things out and talk about things. And so we've started to do the Big Baby Energy Conference. Our first one was last year, and the next one is on September 20th. And we're just slowly, very gently unveiling things that are about our feminine side. We have masculine and feminine. So it's not about man, woman. It's more about let's see what it feels like to step out of the hyper masculine and into our feminine side, to be more introspective, to listen more, to receive more. What does it feel like? Um, so was uh I'm just really lucky to be surrounded by so many babies that give me this thing because this is not easy to talk about. Like I
No.
couldn't,
mhm.
I tried my best to put this in 2 minutes and I couldn't. I was like,
Yeah.
I can't do this.
It's okay because you can't contain it into 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's bigger than that box. It's bigger than that box, and I love that. I am so happy to have you both here. Thank you so much for your support. Yes, you found me, and I I was like instantly like, this feels so right. And I think I've told you guys that before. I'm like, this just feels really right. This aligns more with, who I feel that I am and what I would like to talk about because it doesn't matter your status in life. It doesn't matter, you know, your marital status, all that stuff. Like, women go through enough just by being women, whether you're a South Asian woman or any other culture. Like, women just
Yeah.
kind of tend to get the short end of the stick, and it's such a big topic of conversation
Right.
across the board. Feminism is a huge topic, and it has been for decades, and I'm sure it will continue to be. you
Mhm.
know and so it's not a new thing that we're all trying to like be aligned on, and also embrace that
Right.
femininity of like, what does that mean to have it? What does divine feminine mean? What does feminine energy mean, and how that
Mm.
applies to all humans and not just
Mhm.
women, but
Right.
how women can tap into that strength and use it to their advantage, even if there are naysayers or even if there is someone trying to put you down. Which brings me to like Devi herself,
Right.
the devotion to strong Devis, especially in South Asian culture and in the Hindu religion. We're worshiping Devis. There are goddesses that, Garki Lakshmi, like when a daughter is born, they're like, you're the Lakshmi of the house. Lakshmi brings wealth and prosperity. So like that's a well-known used term, Gargi Lakshmi, or even when a daughter-in-law comes and they're like, oh, our Lakshmi has come in the
Right.
form of like that status is given, but then it's also like, but it's because you're obedient or you cook and clean and you take care of your husband and all this
Mhm.
other stuff. So at some point it's like, where are we translating this incorrectly, where you want to worship and devote and give a status of a Devi, but
Mhm.
then when it comes to being that strong, successful, confident, how many men are like, oh, I don't like that my woman, you know,
Mhm.
makes
Right.
more money than me. It strips me of my masculinity. It makes me feel like I can't take care. It's like, dude, there are other ways you can take care of your lady. It
Mhm.
doesn't have to mean that you make more money. But again, I'm bringing the association of like Lakshmi, who's the goddess of wealth. But if like a woman makes more money, or if a wife makes more money than her husband, all of a sudden that's kind of like, oh, well, I feel a little emasculated.
I feel like I feel like that emasculation and that imbalance in the relationship, it does come from that imbalance within yourself between divine feminine and masculine.
Exactly.
Like he wouldn't feel emasculated if he was able to sit with his feminine side and was able to be introspective and he was able to express these things, right? And her too, that she is also allowed to sit in her feminine and say, you know what? I can take a step back. I'm just wholeheartedly accepted for who I am, not because I'm Lakshmi or I'm called. That is imposed on us. That you are Lakshmi, you are bringing that into the home. What if I don't feel that?
Yeah.
Right?
And
Yeah.
And
we take
it's
on different forms too, right? It's not just Lakshmi, it's also Durga, it's also Shakti. Like you said, it's Saraswati.
sometimes it's Kali.
Sometimes it's
Yeah.
Kali. Right?
When
So
you see those change makers and those rule breakers and setting people straight, I have friends that are out there really fighting the fight. And I see that
Yes.
Kali energy in them, you know?
Yeah. I
Right.
think women are so tactical that
We're
even when
strategic.
women fight, it's like a different level. Like men will never understand. Right? Like talking about Devi and like Shakti and Kali and Durga, like all being really fierce, having to pull energy from everywhere to make sure that they
Mhm.
can defeat the demons and things like that. But also that leads me to talking about Devis and Agni Pariksha. So like,
Mhm.
going through fire and literally being tested over and over again to see if they, quote, burn.
Right.
Um,
But yeah, are
that's
you
also
pure enough?
unfair.
Are you pure enough?
Yeah, or even are you pure enough and things like that. And it is the parallels between what happens with Devis and these stories that we've heard in Hinduism and what happens with the common woman, the human woman, is
Right.
it's
There's a
still
lot to be
there.
uncovered. There is definitely a lot to be uncovered, and understanding that there is that idea that the woman stays at home and the husband
Mhm.
goes out and works. It is coming from the idea of divine feminine and divine masculine. Masculine, it's all about action, and divine feminine is all about being. And so, as women, we create the foundation, and so we can act from that. All of the goddesses that you're talking
Mhm.
about, Durga, was the foundation and was the creation and created the devas, right? The gods as well. And so I think that has been lost and it's been forgotten that we are a foundation and just being that's enough. I've had so many women come and talk to me about how they don't feel like they're enough, that they're not doing enough,
Mhm.
or they
Mhm.
can't get it right, or they have to do all of these things. I said, the fact that you're here and you're breathing, you have reached your purpose. To be here, to experience life, to go through this journey, and everybody's journey is different. That's enough. You don't
right.
have to be somebody's Lakshmi. Just you being here and breathing, and
Yes.
everything else is extra. So have some curiosity about what's coming through. When you can think from that spot, that is a space of abundance. So
Yeah,
once you do that, then you're able to really sit in your feminine and you're really able to receive and see what's coming to you. And you're
I
really
love that.
able to get curious. You're able to have that curiosity. Like, okay, I have a moment to sit and breathe and just be for a second. I'm not Lakshmi. I'm not Durga. I'm not Kali. And now I'm just Sheetal. And now I can just sit and I can observe and I can be. And maybe if I want, I can do, and I can shift into my masculine side and now start
Yes.
doing. House of Devi, it took 5 years for us to start doing. We sat and thought and collaborated and went back and forth and did so much of this.
Right.
And when you say, like, oh, that was 5 years, exactly 5 years on whose timeline? On whose timeline am I on? Like,
Right.
I don't have someone watching over me and saying, you have this much time to accomplish your purpose in life. No,
Yes. Yes.
I'm going
Yeah.
to take my time. And we always feel rushed. Like, we have all of these things. And as women, we're really good at multitasking. We may not do every single task at its full potential, but guess what? It'll
Right.
all get done.
That's the one thing I always say. I'm like, no matter what, it will be done. If I say I'm going to do it, it'll get done. I
Right.
may not be able to give you the timeline. Like, will I get it done this week or will I get it done next year? But it will
Mhm.
get done.
It
If
will.
I have this goal, it will get done. But I think that's a beautiful message of like this timeline and purpose of things. Like also the whole thing about like I keep feeling like I'm doing things wrong. And I
Mhm.
had a huge question about that in the past couple of years where I was like, I feel I'm doing all the things my parents said to do, that society says to do, and that also what I'm trying to tell myself that I want. And I had to stop and be like, I don't I cannot be messing everything up all the time. And so where do I actually want to listen to the thing that feels right to me. Is it what my parents are saying? Is
You
it
know,
what society is saying? Or is
yeah.
it what the voice is within me? And that's where I started to deviate into like, let me just try doing things that feel right to me.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, even if it doesn't, quote, doesn't go the way that I wanted it to, I still got to make that choice to see what happens and then learn from there rather than, well, because you told me or because I thought I had to. Like I can remove that from my thought process
Right.
of, oh, well, I was told to do XYZ. And so when I did it, it didn't work out. And now I'm upset with someone else or upset because
You're
society said it.
able to
You know,
dispose there.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. And so that's where I was my mother said to me recently, we were talking about something and I was like, "Well, this is what feels right for me and so that's what I'm doing." She's like, "Well, you're weird." Like, well, she's like, "Well, you just think differently." Like she was just trying to be like, "You're different and you have a
Yeah.
different stream of thinking and I just now accept that." So like, even if you don't want to do what I'm saying, like you're going to do what you're saying even if I don't get it or agree with it because that's who you are. And
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, that is correct." If
Yes.
you want to
It's
call it weird, it's weird.
And I think to your point about parenting, I mean, we all grew up with that parent. When our parents came as immigrants, it was like assimilate, 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 and
Mm-hmm.
follow this little path and everything. So now with my kids, I try to make that change, and I ask them when they come with something that they are wanting to do, but they're afraid. I said, "How about we just do it wrong first?"
Yeah.
Or if they want to say
Do
something
it
and
scary.
they want to
I
say a
love
poem,
that.
I'm like, say it wrong. Say it wrong. Let me hear it wrong. And then slowly, slowly, it becomes right, you
Yeah.
know?
It's
And
like
how
get it
many
out of your
projects
system.
have you done, Amrita, where you're like, God, that was not what I expected. But then the
Right.
3 projects that didn't work out, the 4th one, you're like, all this stuff I learned, like, made this project number 4 freaking amazing,
Right.
right? So it's just like,
Yes.
tuck in your Gagra and become a Devi and just do it.
Yeah.
Do it
Yeah,
wrong.
absolutely. I once journaled all of the things that went wrong in my life in the past 10 years, like what I
Uh-huh.
wanted and how it didn't happen.
That's
But then
amazing.
what was the outcome of that?
Mhm.
Right.
And it turns out that everything that I wanted that did not happen the way that I wanted it to still resulted in something else that was really awesome
Yeah.
and like led to something else that like was
Better than what you were
unexpected. That
expecting.
yes, that was better. And that is another thing that helped me reshape my thought process of like, okay, the things that go wrong for a reason, and you may not understand that reason immediately, but one day you will look back on how quote, how it went wrong and then come to realize what it led you to was better than you could have anticipated or expected. And so
Oh.
once I journaled that and saw how many different things I
Mhm.
wanted that I didn't get, but got me something else that I
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
do love, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna actively choose to stop worrying so much. And that has been a huge lift off of my shoulders in the past year and been in a completely different sense of what strength and bravery.
Yeah, a lot of times when things go wrong, it's easy to get upset and frustrated. Like, I had all this stuff planned out and it's not going A, B, C, D.
Yes.
Instead, it's going X, Y, Z. Why is this happening? And so we learned over time, instead of getting upset and frustrated, to just pause and take a beat and just look at it, be like, huh, I wonder why this is happening. And just get curious and see
Yeah.
from it going wrong what opportunities are coming out from that.
Yes.
And, you know, 9 times out of 10, it's something better than what you could have even planned for yourself.
Yeah. That's that stress aspect of like, why didn't it happen? It's like if you let go of that for even like give it a day.
Yeah.
Like take it day by day. Give it one day, try not to stress
Right.
about it.
And it's
Like
like,
that
oh,
stress happens.
okay, I guess that wasn't meant to be. Let's see, what are we going to do now? Okay, all right, this is what
Yeah.
we're going to do now.
And energetically, if you hold on to one opportunity, like say you're trying to sell your house and somebody comes to look at your house and you're like, God, I hope he buys my house. And you focus on that one person, then that creates this really tense energy between both of
Mhm.
you. Then you get stressed and the buyer gets stressed for some reason.
Yeah.
And you're also blocking out any other buyers to come in.
Yeah, there
So-
could be somebody that wanted to, offer 100,000 more than what this guy's offering, but
But you're so focused on the
here.
goal. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, this is the outcome I want. that you have now dismissed any other opportunities that may be coming your way.
Yeah.
So you can say, oh, there must be a reason for this. Then you're allowing all of these other opportunities to come to you.
Yeah, exactly. I do a guided meditation every day, and there's always a different topic. I use an app, and today's was like it was essentially about going with the flow, and it's like sometimes even the giant tree in the forest has a big crack in it, but the bamboo sways with the wind despite its smaller, thinner nature. Like it's like a giant thick tree cannot bend to the wind. It cannot sway, cannot go with the flow.
Yes.
But the bamboo, despite its, narrow body and flexibility, it lasts longer.
Yeah.
It's just like, yes, it's like accept the things and go with the flow. And that's actually somehow stronger than, kind of having that quote brute strength, and that I thought was also a really great analogy between like masculine and feminine.
I am a big Bruce Lee fan. And I feel like because
I would not have pegged you for a Bruce Lee fan. I like that.
I'm a huge Bruce Lee fan. And I've read his books. He was a fighter. That's what he's famous for. He was a martial artist, but he was a philosopher. Like if you go back and read, one of my favorite quotes of his is "Be water, my friend. Be water." And it allows him, I feel like he is like this perfect balance of he knows how to step into his feminine and masculine to make things happen. And he's like having that flexible. And he talks about the power of water, how it can be nice and gentle.
Another Devi.
So how Ganga can be beautiful and she can be all enveloping and she can hold you, but she can also take down the Titanic,
Yes.
And so there is this idea that if you can be in flow, if you can be water, my friend, that there is this whole pool of potential that you're opening yourself up to.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
Yes, we love a pun here. Cool. We love it. We love it. I wanted to go into I talked a little bit about the moments that brought me to embrace that strength and fierceness. Do you have like a specific moment where you also came to realize that okay, the notion of tapping into the divine feminine of strength and discarding that masculine trait, what do you have a particular moment that made me go, okay, I think I'm going to change the thought process here. I think I'm going to change my attitude towards this because we know it kind of can build and come with lessons. Did you have a moment that you're like, I'm thinking about this incorrectly?
For me, I don't know if it was an aha moment or it was more gradual as I learned more and got better about things. But I'm not married. I've never been married, and so I'd have a lot of times people would come up to me. Everybody has an opinion where they're like, you're preventing your parents from completing their purpose by not getting married. And things along those lines and guilt and it's like
if
you
that's
don't.
Why they had a kid, then they had a kid for the wrong reason, and that's not my fault.
Exactly. Yeah.
I have no control in that.
And so it's like recognizing this person doesn't really even know me, doesn't know my parents, doesn't know our relationship, and that doesn't define me.
Yeah.
And I learned to just kind of see humor in it because there's no point in getting upset. Because that's their issue that they're dealing with. It's not my issue. So you just, well, that's interesting. Okay. and moving forward. So I think it was over time where I learned how to deal with comments like that better. I remember one time I had someone say something to me and I didn't even think about it afterwards, but my mother was upset about it and I was upset about something else, and so she thought I was upset about what that person had said, and she's like, they're idiots, why are you don't even think about that. I'm like, Mom, what are you talking about? And she's like, because so and so said this. And I was like, no, I was upset because I saw this little kid on the street and it was this kid was upset and that got me upset. I was like, I'm not even thinking about that. And she was like,
yeah.
And so even for my mom it was like, okay, yeah,
good, yeah. Okay, good. Don't let that get you down. Yeah. Good. I love that also. I love hearing stories where parents are able to embrace and accept what their child wants even if it's completely different from what they want. And I've told my mom also, it's not that I don't want certain things. I
Right.
just want it in a different way. Or like I'm willing to accept these other things. Or most recently it's like, I'm not as stressed out about it because I've been stressed out about it in the past and it hasn't gotten me anywhere. And so
Mm-hmm.
therefore the lesson learned is that like to stress about it is actually quite futile
Right.
because it doesn't bring me anything more than stress. Like, and the stress does not feel good. It doesn't manifest well. Like,
Yeah.
I'm always constantly worrying and I'm not sleeping well and my hair is falling out and all this other stuff. And I'm like, in what world is this helping?
Yeah.
So rather than
Right.
stress, I'd rather just let it go. Or even I've sought out astrology and been like, okay, is this even supposed to be something that I have or
Mm-hmm.
not? And the acceptance of like, even if I'm supposed to have it, I'm supposed to have it later. Okay, cool. At least I
Yeah.
know it's coming later and I don't have to
Right.
worry about it, why it's not here right now.
Yeah. And
Right.
having the faith and belief that like I'm gonna have a beautiful life. I don't know what
Yeah.
that life looks like right now, but I know that it's beautiful and it's beautiful right now. So I'm
Yes.
enjoying right now. Yes.
Because I said the same exact thing recently to my mom, and my mom was like, "Why aren't you trying to date more?" And I'm like, "No, it's not that I'm actively not trying. It's that I'm open to it. But I
Right.
would rather put myself in really cute scenarios."
Yes. I was just saying, when you're focusing on living a cute ass life, then you're going
Hmm.
to attract a cute ass guy.
Yeah.
If you're going
Yes.
to focus on the stressful aspects of it, you're going to bring someone in that just gives you more stress because that's what you
Yes.
want.
Hmm.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There was someone who I was dating, and I kept waiting for him to mess up. I'm like, he's gonna do something wrong. Just watch.
Yeah.
Just watch. He's gonna do something wrong, and I'm gonna be like, and this is why. You
I
did
was
it.
right.
This is why. It's not gonna work. And spoiler alert, he never really did anything wrong. He was super nice and super supportive, but I just had this negative mindset of like, men ain't shit, and like they're always gonna do something that's good. Like, I'm not saying he was perfect. There were certain things I was like, that's annoying, but I was also like, whatever. So that was also like a little bit like jokes on me, you know? So again, it contributed to my thought process of like, or how about you stop worrying about all these things, realize that there are good people out there, and you keep living your best life and in your strength and your groundedness, and you find your ground, you find your center, you
Yeah.
find what makes you happy, and you do the best that you can do, which is your best. You just keep putting forth your best, and whatever is supposed to happen will unfold in front of you. And I think that also adds to the importance of being able to recognize it, right? When you're just doing your best and you're living your best life and doing your best thing in your strength and your confidence,
Hmm.
you will also be able to identify strength and confidence in others, or like something
Yes.
that is presented to you in the purity of which it is presented.
Right.
Of like, okay, this is something that's presented to me. Does it feel good to me? Am I in a good place where this also feels good to me? Okay,
Yeah.
great. I move forward with a confidence saying that I think this feels good and I'm going to do it. And
Yeah.
that brings me back to also like, with that confidence of being like, okay, I feel it within me and I'm just going to make this decision. Even if somebody else doesn't understand it and thinks like that seems like the wrong decision. Like, well, it feels like the right decision to me. And if it doesn't work out in the way that I wanted it to, I don't like to say like I have no one else to blame but myself, because I think we all deserve to have a little more grace towards ourselves. That is
Right.
something I am working on, is to not always like talk myself down and berate myself by my choices, even if it doesn't work out. It's more of like, well, I felt really strong about this and I was
Hmm.
very confident in my decision. And that decision has led to a less than favorable outcome, but there must be something else that this will lead to.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see what that is. That
I
again,
love
that
that.
confidence.
I love that. You're mothering yourself into a space, right?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
After I became a mom, because I was really hard on myself. I was like, go, 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 do, 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 let's get it done.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, would I talk to my daughter like this? Would I talk to my son like this?
Big.
So that
Yes.
coming from that voice, like I really started to kind of mother myself into a space
Yeah.
and stepping into divine feminine and realizing it started with my business coach. Actually, my
Mm.
business coach, if anyone's looking for a business coach, go talk to Madison Gray. She's
There you
amazing.
go.
But she really is different from other coaches because she taught me these different tools, like the tool of curiosity. And if you really want to harness that tool of curiosity, you have no choice but to sit in your feminine, right?
I love that.
And so harnessing that tool of curiosity is what slowly got me to uncover all of those different layers of myself.
Yeah.
And so that for me was, my big sort of aha moment was it was slow and it was gradual, but I had several really big epiphanies and learnings from that. So there wasn't any single point in my life where I was like mind blown. It was
Yeah.
several mini mind blowns.
Yeah.
So,
For me, I mentioned how people kept saying like, "Oh, I'm so brave," and like people will be like, "Oh, you're so brave. I wish I could do what you did or anything like that." And I would be like, "What do you mean brave? Like, what do you mean I'm brave? Like, are you taunting me that I'm still single and everybody else is, paired up? Or are you taunting me that I moved away to a city by myself and had to like start from scratch and kind of like build a whole new life for myself, leaving behind the life that I did build? Like, what do you mean brave? I'm just out here trying to live my life and find my happiness. What do you mean brave? Anybody would do that, right?" And it turns out, no, not everyone does have that bravery and confidence and strength within them to be like, well, let me just drop all this and start anew somewhere, at 28 years
Yes.
old. Or even somebody who's like gotten divorced and starting again and being like, oh, I'm going to move somewhere new and either live my life independently or try dating. Like all these various things, right, are defined as brave. But I keep seeing it as like, I'm just trying to figure out what's right for me. And I have to try something different because I'm unhappy or feeling unfulfilled. I was feeling really stuck in the position that I was in. And I was like, something doesn't feel right and I don't know what it is. So I need to try something different. And if that something different doesn't work, I can come back to this familiar
Correct.
thing and figure it out, being like, okay, I have to try some other branch
Right.
to change things or shake things up or figure things out. And so I kept being unhappy about you're so brave. Like it was my 30th birthday and it was around COVID. And so I did I did virtual parties and whatnot. And everyone went around saying their favorite thing about me and I kept getting brave. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, can't you be like, you're so fun and but like you're such a great dancer?
Yeah.
You're so
Or
brave.
identifying what it is that you're brave. Like you were so brave to step into that ice cold water on that trip,
Right.
And you're like, oh yeah, that was brave.
So then I remember complaining to my parents. I was like, "Ugh, everybody keeps calling me brave and keeps saying you're so brave. And like, I couldn't have done that. I'm like, I don't get it. And they're like, well, it took a lot of effort for you to do what you do. And we worry about you, but you seem to not worry about yourself as much. Like, yes, I mean, of course there's worry, like, make sure I have a job and a place to live. There were worries, but they're like, we're checking in worried about you, but you seem to be like, it's fine. I'm going to do this. I'm going to try that. And if it works, great. And if it doesn't, whatever. And that's also before all this other realization of like coming into my feminine and, learning to believe in people and listening to my own voice. And so that was something that, like I said in the intro, is like that word brave. I was so annoyed by it, thinking that like, does everyone not just figure out different ways to be happy?
Do you feel
it turns out no.
Do you feel like it was because of the way your parents were that you were allowed to be brave? Like they created a space for you to grow and explore things?
Yeah, I have been given the sort of like, I don't want to call it feedback or insight by my brother. My brother also like left soon after graduating and moved to like a whole new state in town and all this other stuff for work. And it didn't work out for him. But he was telling me that my dad was he's like, you can hear when, I call my dad up. And he's like, you can hear when Appa talks about you, how proud he is of you and how hard you've worked because you like uprooted your life, went somewhere new, and are flourishing. You have friends, you have a life, you're involved in things. Shy to take whatever job you need to take to make sure your house is in order, to make sure your bills are in order. Like you're doing all these things. And he's like, you can hear the pride in Appa's voice. I was like, that's cool. I wish he'd tell me that.
No, they can't. They can't.
That'd be cool to hear, you know. Hey, I'm really proud of you. You're doing all this work. Like, I see it.
No,
I
you're
Yeah.
gonna
see it.
get a big head, Amrutha. They can't tell you.
Yeah.
You're gonna get a big head.
She'll be too inflated. No, that does not.
But I was like, that's really, I guess, like that's true, because if you think about the immigrant mindset, is our parents came from India, had to come to decided to come to America,
Right.
and the ways that they had to struggle, and we talked about this with like your dad and stuff, like the ways that they had to figure out what to do to fit in, to make money, to start their own thing, or to do whatever. Like my dad did, like what's it called? Why can't I remember the words now? Like help people pick vacations. I forget what the
A
title.
travel agent.
Travel agent. Thank you. My dad came to this country and decided first to like try being a travel agent, and I found out that he like pitched some people like, I can be the guy that does this, and helped in that way to get something going, to make extra money while he was trying to go to school to learn IT and like, you know, do all these things till he got, you know, a secure place. And he had to work night shifts when I was born and all this other stuff, and how my parents just had to deal
Yeah.
Yeah.
and all that stuff. And so that when I sat down and thought about it all, I was like, oh, my story is like same but different. It's like, okay, fine, I didn't go to a whole nother country and have to start from like, you know, scratch per se in the same way, but yeah, I did move to a whole nother place and had to figure it out. And I didn't move with a job. I had to get there and then figure out a job, and that took some time, and that took some like taking retail jobs. And I think that's another thing where it's like, I think as brown people, as Indian people, like because we're known as such a smart, successful, driven, like super competitive, like race of people, sometimes I think like the mind boggle is when you see someone who's Indian working like
At the
at
grocery
like
store.
at like a convenience store,
Yeah.
who maybe isn't from India, you know, like I'm American Indian. And so I'm like, I don't have an accent, and I don't, you know, but yet I'm, you know, working retail, and I'm working at a convenience store first thing in the morning and all this other stuff, because I'm like, I just need to get paid something so I can pay rent, so I can afford like food and gas and whatnot.
Right.
And I've talked to other people about like learning to let go of that ego as another form of strength.
Yeah.
It's like you have to let go of the ego at some point. And I've also learned with experience that like by dropping my ego and taking things that even deep within me, I'm like, I don't want to work retail.
Yeah.
But I'm like, but I have to do what I have to do. And so by setting aside that ego to take that job ultimately helped me in different ways. And that's also what my dad did, is he's like, I got to take something to take care of myself.
Right.
And then eventually it was like, I got to keep doing, because I have a family and kids, and I have to keep doing these things, even if I don't want to. Sometimes you just have to do it and deal with it. And there's that strength in that as well. And so that's where I feel like, yes, I did get it from my parents. My parents did give me an environment where I'm like, I'm going to do this. And they're like, all right, we wish you luck, and we will support you as best as we can for it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's really like, it takes a lot of strength to listen to your inner voice. Like, I know this is what's expected of me. I know that I'm going to get a lot of criticism for this. I know people are going to be envious. I know people are going to be very critical, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it anyway. It takes a lot of strength to do that, because you're moving against the current. I mean, it's really hard to do that.
Yeah.
And House of Devi is moving against a current.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm not complaining,
Yes.
but it is moving against a current.
And I love
Because-
that. Sorry, continue.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
I was going to ask, like, is there any particular moment that stands out for you that you've faced in building House of Devi where it's like, there was just pushback and you're like, I will not stand for it and I will fight? Because I mean, like you're saying, it's moving against the current, and there's that there's importance in that. But is there one standout moment that, you know, made you be like, nope, I am 10 toes in and you cannot push me. You cannot move this. I'm standing in this firm.
Amisha, there's so, I'm like,
There's
so many. Pick your favorite story.
Oh gosh. Let's see.
you get a lot of pushback from your own family. I my family is really supportive and everything, but it's the same thing of like you could do something that's a lot easier. You know that, right?
Yeah.
And
Why are you struggling and working so hard? I mean, you can do this and it's easy and you'll make
Yes.
you make money like this.
Yes.
Yeah, I can, but this is where
The passion is.
the passion of
Yeah.
And also you're doing things differently. And so when you work with manufacturers, that has been a big struggle as well, as working with manufacturers, working across in this day and age with all of these tariffs and things. Because
Oh
this
my goodness,
amazing beadwork that I'm talking about,
Yeah.
it cannot be taught like this in the United States. This is families. Yes. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, can't see it. Go
It's,
to my Instagram. I'm wearing the jacket.
yeah. It's
yeah, that's
all of this work is done
generations.
by a family that has been doing beadwork for generations. Like
Yeah.
it is a big struggle working with someone. Yes, I am Indian. I am Indian American. I was born in Texas and I was brought up here. I understand as much as I can about our Indian culture, but it is very, very different. The work ethic.
We're very rooted in our Indian values, but yeah, like Ron Paul was my mother's doctor, and Ron Paul delivered me.
Right?
Yeah.
That's
So-
how Texan we are.
That's how Texan.
That's how Texan we are, okay?
Oh my.
So it's just like when we're working through the tariffs has been you're up at night going, I have no idea. We've had
Yeah.
surprise invoices show up going, well, let me just cut that out of the margin, you know. And we're learning as you go, and it's really, really important again to stay present and go with the flow and not make that decision going, you know, this is how it's going to work out because we know enough. We may be new to this business of retail and
Fashion.
and exporting and importing, really.
Mhm.
But we know enough to really stay rooted in the present and see what you can make of the moment.
Yes, that's important.
But we have one of my designs that's been sitting with the manufacturer for 3 years now.
Yes. Yeah.
And it doesn't
Nice.
seem that difficult to me.
Yeah.
But the back and forth, I've gone through so many samples and things, and yes, it gets frustrating. And you're like,
Yeah.
you ask that same question that, you know, your dad is asking you, like,
Yeah.
why are you doing this to yourself?
Oh,
Yeah.
You know, and it's all
Yeah.
coming from a place of love, but at the same time, it's like,
Yeah. That concern of like your parents just want you to have life be easier, and they don't, of course they never want their child to struggle and all those things, but then there's also a sense of, I think there's almost like a survival sense that I know my parents have, and they've told me many times, like my career mess in the sense that it's gone up and down, and I, you know, have jobs, lose jobs, and especially in a post-COVID world, like it's just been rough. But the amount of times my dad has just said, like, just take any job. Any job, get paid, take care of your bills, you know, have insurance, health insurance, like, who cares? And I'm like, I care.
yes.
I don't want to get stuck in a job just because it pays or it's easy enough or whatever like that. I have an interest, you know, I'm an events manager and I've gotten into marketing with it and all this other stuff. And aside from all the other things that I do actually enjoy my career path because it took some time to find it. And then once I found it, I was like, cool, this is the focus. I want to keep building and growing in this line of work and seeing where it takes me. And I haven't gotten bored of it yet. So I'm like, no, I'm not going to just take any job. I want the kind of job that is relevant to the kind of work I want to do.
Yeah.
Right.
And we're
they don't
able
get
to
it.
do this. And also, I think it helps to tell our parents, like, because you did all of these things, I have the luxury of exploring this new avenue.
Yes.
Otherwise, I would just stay in the same thing and stay focused and keep my head down and keep going.
Yeah.
But because you did, I'm able to move forward. And, or not move
absolutely.
forward, but move into a different space.
Move forward with that confidence of like, well, I'm going to do this. And it's really blessed to have parents who will just be like, all right, well, like, I don't get it because I wouldn't have made that choice. But if I can support you through your choice and be here to help you as much as possible, then, take my blessings and go. Because I've had my parents say that as well, that like, I don't get it and I'm happy to support. But also, they've also, drawn boundaries on the support. They're like, I can support you for like 6 months, but then after that, I'm going to need you to like make a better informed decision for your own life kind of thing. And I think, I don't know, I personally, coming from a personal story, like I feel very lucky to have parents like that because not
Yes.
everybody does, right? If you're doing something different than what your parents want, there are parents out there who say like, well, then I'm not going to support you. It's not what I want you to do, and so I'm not going to support
Yeah.
you. And that makes me sad to think of, but I say more power to those people making those decisions that feel right to them. Go forth
Yes.
and do. But that brings me to kind of the final thing that I wanted to ask you both. For the Davies struggling to find their strength, to find that bravery within them, what's your best piece of advice for any Davy that's feeling just kind of stuck and doesn't know what to do? Who wants to go first?
I know. I was like, who's going first? Do you want me to go?
Mine is really simple.
Yeah.
It might seem like it's a easy answer, but just pause and take deep breaths,
Yeah.
and the answer will eventually appear.
Yeah, I
Yes.
agree with Amisha, and that was the first thing that came to my mind when you said it. Just stop and take a beat, because when you stop and you take a beat and you step out of that idea of being stressed, or you are feeling guilty, or you are feeling scared, all of those things, if you take a beat and you just take a deep breath and you switch that channel from fear or guilt or hate to curiosity, say you can't go straight to loving yourself, but if you can just get curious, you can like literally see a dial going from hate or guilt or fear to curiosity and seeing love at the other end, then you are opening up a channel of wisdom that resides within you. You don't have to go anywhere else, but just take that few moments. And I'm not saying sit for an hour,
Yeah.
sit for 10, 15 minutes
Set a timer.
and see that dial move. And when you get to curiosity and you're able to open up that wisdom to flow through and see what happens.
Yeah. I love that because mine is also the same with a bit of a twist, because to take those few minutes, the things that I've done when I feel most anxious or like I'm struggling to figure out like what it is I need to do or why I'm feeling these feelings, I will start talking out loud. Because I think the worst thing that you can do is keep it within you and keep it contained and be afraid to be like, I don't know what
Yeah.
this is. I start saying, like, what am I afraid of?
Yes.
I start saying it out loud. Okay, what is scaring me? What are all these feelings I'm feeling? And I'm just talking to myself out loud. And
Yes.
if you're around other people and they hear you, who cares? Tell them to butt out. Put an earbud in and you're talking to someone. But right, take those few minutes, and aside from the visualization and just aside from the deep breaths, like yes, combine it all and then start talking to yourself. Why am I feeling this? What am I afraid of? What is the worst case scenario out of this? Because
Yeah.
I feel that once you let it out, it's just out there. It's out there. You've either released it or
Right.
you've heard yourself say it, and then you start to process like, okay, well, maybe that's not that bad, or maybe it will lead to something else. And if you're not the kind of person, like, I mean, I'm chatty, so I'll talk with myself all the time. But if that's also not your thing, write it down. I've done that as well.
Yep.
What's the worst thing that's going to happen? What am I afraid of? I put it in an email. I sent it to my therapist. Like I've done all these things
Yes.
where I'm just like,
take
I
it out
don't
of your body.
yeah, I'm like, I don't know why I'm feeling lost or stuck or scared or anxious or any of this, but between taking a deep breath, trying to find calm, trying to say like, okay, like things can get better. You just have to relax for a second. It's also like, let's just get it out of my system of like what it is I'm struggling with.
Yeah.
In the same way, tying it back to what you said, like, or no, Sheetal, what you said. How would I talk to my friend? If my friend came to me with this fear, concern, advice, stuff, whatever, what would I say to them?
Right.
And to try to give yourself that same advice, to give yourself that
Mother yourself through it.
Yeah, to give yourself that grace, to give yourself that kindness that we all deserve. We are a Devi. All of us have Devi within us that, you would not berate another Devi. You would not talk down to another Devi. You would not tell them like, oh, you're doing things wrong. You'd be like, okay, well, how can I help? What can I say or do to help? And if you give yourself that treatment, even if you give yourself those 2-5 minutes, set a timer. And if you go beyond that timer, even better, like, whatever it takes to get yourself through it.
Yeah.
But I love that. Thank you both so much for joining me today and having this discussion. I love all the places it went. I hope anybody listening feels just a little bit more inspired and finds a little bit more strength and courage in themselves. Happy Navaratri to anyone and everyone listening. And I thank you for choosing this podcast, this episode, and supporting me. Please keep in touch with me on Instagram, with House of Devi on Instagram. I'm at Curry Badshah, CurryBadshah. And there's House of Devi, there's Shop House of Devi, right?
It's Big Devi Energy. So you want to follow us at Big Devi Energy or at Shop House of Devi. You're muted.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Is that better? Okay. You said you're... Okay. Perfect. And then please keep following us on Spotify for more podcast episodes. There's also 88 Seconds with Devi that the House of Devi does. Everyone, keep being your divine selves, and I'll catch you on the next episode.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
All right. I'm going to stop the recording.
Thank you for listening to this entry of Devi Diaries with your host, Curry Badshah. Catch House of Devi shows on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Follow us on Instagram at Curry Badshah, Big Devi Energy, and Shop House of Devi for more content. Until the next one, keep shining, babies.